Well, we miss you.
All right, we need to call the meeting to order, please.
I do the same thing.
First, if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you for coming out this evening. I know everybody's got lots to do. My name is Dan Cole. I'm the president of the Men's Democratic Men's Club of Macon County. And this is our Democratic candidate forum for the primary. I'm going to explain the format briefly. First, we're going to start off with our unopposed candidates in the primary. We do not have a Democratic contender. They will be in the November general election, and they need your support. They'll have just under 2 minutes to speak, just a chance to introduce themselves, and so you get to see who they are and what they're about. And then we're going to have, we're going to go on to our main event for the evening, which are our primary candidates in the Democratic primary. And the primary candidates are going to have just 7 minutes each. And I know it's not a long time, but we have a, yeah, I know. But we don't want to make it too long of a night because the men's club also has to meet after this whole forum is over, and we don't want to be here till 9. So that's what we've got going. But I want to let the candidates know in the Democratic primary that you may break up your 7 minutes however you wish. If you just want to talk for 7 minutes, that's fine. If you want to talk for 5 minutes, and then last 2 minutes for questions, take questions, whatever, however you want to maximize your time, that's up to you as a candidate. Let's see. One thing is I do want to ask all the people speaking to please be mindful of the time. I've got a stopwatch, and I'll let you know when they're getting close, and then I'll let you know, okay, that's it. And I know folks don't like to stop mid-sentence, and I know they won't. But it is, I think, an indication of being respectful of everybody's time, and I think voters take that into account. So, all right. So first, we're going to have, if he's willing, let's go on with Vic Perry, who is our Democratic Macon County Clerk of Court candidate and current Macon County Clerk of Court.
Thank you. As you heard Dan say, I'm fortunate enough to be running unopposed this time. So one word can sum up my campaign, and that is thankful. I'm thankful for that, but I'm also thankful for the opportunity to serve 4 more years as Clerk of Court for Macon County. I really enjoy doing the job. I think I've got a good staff, and they give good service to the people of Macon County. So again, I'm really looking forward to serving 4 more years and hope that 4 more beyond that. So y'all stay with me. And that's really all I've got to say tonight. Thank you for being here.
Fantastic. That's the 28-second record.
It's good to gauge about.
Okay, for Macon County Commissioner District 1 up in Highlands, we have Michael Bud David Rogers. If you'd like to come up and speak and tell us about yourself, please.
Anyway, thanks for you guys having me up. My name is Michael David Rogers. They call me Bud. I was born and raised in Highlands, North Carolina. I've been there for 51 years. And this is my wife in the back, Tina. I've been married to her for 32 years. We've been married together. We got two daughters. One that's graduated from Western Carolina University. The other one's a junior there. And me and Tina, we go to church at Pine Grove. We've been there for 8 years. And we do a marriage ministry there. And then I also do it's called 12 Steps for Christians. It deals with drugs and alcohol. It's a 12-step program like AA, but it's spiritual. And we run that there. But anyway, we'll be running against either Jimmy Tate or John Sherrill in an election in November. And I need you guys to support. And I just, I'm looking forward to serving Macon County. And I just hope you guys will get behind me and put me in this time. And I need it. I need to get in there. I appreciate it.
course, we have the infamous Ronnie Beale for Macon County. All
right.
Come on, Ronnie.
Good evening. It's good to be here, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the Men's Club for putting this forum on. It's been my pleasure to work for people in Macon County for 8 years. And during that time, we've seen many changes. I've had the privilege to sit with 10 different county commissioners. So why is this election so important in November? Is the direction of our county. If you want our county to move forward, for the most part, have we been in the majority all the time? Hardly any. But we've managed to find a way to work with the Republicans or whoever's there. We will work with them. We have to. This is not Raleigh. This is not Washington. This is Macon County. The citizens expect something to be done, and we keep working toward that. My goal as a county commissioner is real simple, is that you got to provide services to the citizens and try to improve those services however bit you can. Today has been on Mental Health Day. If you don't know what that is, if you're involved in mental health, today's been one of those days. The phone rung off, it started at 4:30 this morning. But those are the things you employ, and that's what I work for, and I enjoy it. And I think, and the reason you're a candidate here tonight, if you're a Democrat, and you're a Democrat, and the reason you're a Democrat is because you care for others. If you stand up and turn that around with that shirt, this is why we're Democrats right here. This is why we're Democrats right here. We do things different. We do a little things different. We realize that not everybody makes $121,462.19 a year, and has 3.1 kids. We realize that. And so those are some of the things we work on. I ask for your support in November. I do have 3 opponents, 2 Republicans and 1 Libertarian. There's 2 seats open in District 2, and I will definitely be a candidate working hard for one of them. I appreciate you being here tonight, and thank y'all so much for your support over the years. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to need to get those folks elected and re-elected this November and many Novembers in the future. At this point, I'm going to do coin toss. Actually, I'm going to hold off on that just a second. I heard from one of our candidates who came from beyond Asheville, who actually needs to get back home past Asheville. If it's all right with, if he would go first, is that all right with everyone?
Yeah, sure.
All right. If Tom Hill would come up, he is running for U.S. Congressional District, North Carolina 11, against Mark Meadows. Come on up. Thank you.
I'll stand out front here if that's okay. The fact that those guys took less time, I can use that time, right? My name is Tom Hill. I've tried to give all of you a card. I'm from I grew up in East Flat Rock. My dad had an apple orchard there, and we were very poor when I was growing up, and we are a true Republican success story, but I'm not a Republican. I'm a Democrat. I supported Eugene McCarthy when he ran back in 1968. I don't know how many of you remember him, but he was a great guy. I supported George McGovern in '72. He was the best presidential candidate that we never elected. And we knew that, we Democrats knew that Richard Nixon was a crook, but the rest of the world had to find it out. And so anyway, I grew up in East Flat Rock. I went to school at Wake Forest for 4 years, have a bachelor's degree in math. Then I went to Chapel Hill for 5 years. I have a doctorate degree in physics, and I worked in the aerospace industry for my entire career. I worked as a civilian employee for the Air Force for about 20 years, and then I worked for private industry till I finished my career. Now, the reason I'm running, everybody says, I want to make a change, I want to make a change. You know, I really, honest to God, want to make a change, okay? I want to change that Tea Party blocking in the U.S. House of Representatives. We need to take about 18 seats to get the Democrats back in control of Congress. Now, we can do that. We can start with one district at a time. And people say, well, Mark Meadows is undefeatable in this district. Well, he's not. He showed himself when he shut down the government, and he did it again when he voted the second time on it. The only thing kept the government from shutting down the second time was that about 18 of his colleagues, 20 plus of his colleagues voted with the Democrats. It's the biggest one-sided vote ever where the minority party carried the day. All right, it's the fewest of the majority party voted in that shutdown, and the shutdown is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. They've already approved the budget. It's like your credit card bill. You spent the money, then your bill comes due, and you don't want to pay it. Now that's what the shutdown is about. And so Mark is a very personable guy. He is smiling. He is the face of the Tea Party. Jane Balillo, who's chair of the Asheville Tea Party, called him the poster boy of the Tea Party, and indeed he is. And these people are not unpersonable. Mark is a very personable fellow. He smiles. He attends all of the events where somebody has had an accident, maybe like the Forest Service guy that got killed, or someone else has a tragic. He's there front and center. As far as taking care of people's individual problems, he's done an outstanding job. But when it comes to legislation, he's at the bottom of the list. He is the one who circulated the letter to shut down the government. Now, if we don't do anything else in our lives, we need to replace him in Congress. I want to do that, but if you decide that my opponent, who's not here tonight, is the right one to do that, then I will support him. We must put a Democrat in the U.S. Congress. It's an absolute requirement. We'll do this one district at a time. As far as, how much time do I have left, Dan?
About 3.5 minutes.
Okay, good. I'm only halfway. I'm just getting around it. The things I stand for, I want the corporations to pay their taxes. 1 in 4 U.S. corporations pay. Now, if you want that done, it's never, ever, ever going to be done as long as we have a Republican-controlled House of Representatives. It will not happen. There'll be one excuse after the other. Well, we're going to close some loopholes, but we just couldn't work it out. Okay? Now, the fact of the matter is they are bought and paid for. And I hate to admit it, but we have Democrats who are bought and paid for too. And it's going to take we're not going to take no for an answer attitude to get this done. And we can get it done. So I want corporations to pay their taxes instead of moving offshore. Heck, Caterpillar came in a couple of weeks back, and they moved offshore to avoid $2 billion, $2.3 billion in federal taxes, and the Republicans cheered them. These are the same turkeys that want to know where the government is when a disaster hits. What happened to FEMA? We had a tornado. Well, and Mark was front and center when the guys in Mills River got drowned, their crops got drowned out. Well, I'm front and center too. The difference is I'm willing to pay for it. Okay, and the Republicans are not. So I want the corporations to pay. I want to stop these wars. We have spent in the past over $150 billion a year fighting those wars. When somebody has figured out while we're in Afghanistan, I want you to tell me, okay? We have to stop them. We need that $150 billion. The GAO has estimated $145 billion to rebuild our infrastructure. We need a special bill to do that. So I want to stop the wars, rebuild the infrastructure, I want corporations to pay taxes. I want immigration reform. I will work for it as hard as I can. I came back and took care of my mother's apple orchard in 1987, and the Hispanic people are doing the work. If we can have them work for 3 years, pay U.S. income taxes, Social Security, and stay out of trouble, and most of them are law-abiding people. Most of them are Christians. They're not Muslims who are looking to foment a jihad. Okay, so if they're for 3 years, they pay their taxes, they do their thing, and they're willing to swear allegiance to the United States, I want to make them a pathway to citizenship. We can do that. John Boehner said that he could pass a bill like that this year. He met with Mark and his friends, and then he came back and said, I can't pass the bill. So we know where that is. Mark appears at these town halls. He appears at these town halls. He says, we have a plan. We have a plan for Medicare. We have a plan for immigration reform. Where the hell is it? Okay? All they want to do is block everything we try to do. Thank you very much. I appreciate your patience, and I'm going to run. I'm going back to, I have a couple hour drive to get back east. It's Zirconia now.
Well, thank you. Come on up. This is Nikki Talent for Macon County Register of Deeds. Thank you so much.
It's good to see everybody out tonight. I am Nikki Talent. I was born and raised here in Macon County. My husband is a Macon County 911 dispatcher. He's been employed here for 14 years. We have 3 children that have all attended school here. I have worked in the medical field. I'm in the medical field in '93. I'm a nursing clinical supervisor with Kids Care Pediatrics. There's been so many changes in the medical field, and I just feel like I'm ready for a change. I have leadership skills. I have good listening skills, which to me goes hand in hand. I feel like I am a people person. I like to get out. I like to help people. I want to serve the county. It's funny because I had never really thought of myself as I never would have thought of myself as a political person at all. My mom said, "You're going to have to watch yourself." She said, "You're too honest." Really? But you know, I have enjoyed, I've had a great time. I've had lots of people that have taken me under their wing, and I have learned a lot. I would appreciate your vote, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Kenneth Blaine for Macon County Register of Deeds. Come on up.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
For those that don't know me, my name's Kenneth Blaine. I'm running for Register of Deeds. I'm a native of Macon County. This is my home. I graduated from Franklin High School in 1980. I have an associate's degree in business and a master's in gunology. That'll keep the record safe. Later, I served 3 years in the military. I worked for Beale Contractor for 24 years. I'm married to Tammy Blaine. She couldn't be here tonight. She had to go off to work. She works at the Center of Sports Medicine for Dr. Ballard, one of the best orthopedic surgeons in the Southeast. She's really supportive, and she's a great wife. And I want to get why I'm a good candidate for Register of Deeds. I was a sole owner of Misty Mountain Gun Works for 9 years. And ATL, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, when they check you, they come and check your record with the gun on them. So you don't make no mistakes there. Because you make a mistake, your license is gone. So you keep safe records and accurate records. And I've always had a passion to serve Macon County. I think that stems from my childhood days growing up around the courthouse. And I think the Register of Deeds office would provide me with that opportunity. In my opinion, it's the most important office in the Macon County. It's a traceable background of the county. Without them records, we ain't nothing or nobody. I will head the office of Register of Deeds proudly, courteously, accurately, in an efficient and timely manner. I've studied the Register of Deeds office, how it operates, and the software that it uses. And if elected, I will not go into the office blindsided. I will not be a figurehead. If I'm in the office, come in, you'll see my face as much as you'll see the assistants and the staff. And I've got some crazies for the office. I don't know the current staff personally, but I've inquired a lot of people in the county about it, about their personality, their ability to work the office, and their reliability. And they all come up to A+. So that tells me they're doing an excellent job. And I'm looking forward to a chance to work with them. And the office runs great software. In the near future, they're going to upgrade to Windows 8. The biggest difference in Windows 8, XP, and Windows 7 is it's touchscreen based. That tells me we get touchscreen computers. And the vendor software that they use, BSI, I called them, took me about 3 hours to get a demo, but I got a demo of the software. It's really impressive program, really impressive. And I've also studied WebROD, which a few of the smaller counties in North Carolina still use WebROD. And I've studied that software too. And I've been running, the Windows 8 was released August 1st, 2012 in New York City. And I've been running Windows 8 with touchscreen computers for almost a year and a half now. And that will be a huge step forward and a great asset to the office. That'll help bring the office into the 21st century. And I've got some ideals on about cutting the budget of the register of deeds, but I'm not going to dwell on them tonight because put me in office, let me work with the staff, and I'll try to work up some budget cuts. But I don't want to go say cut this, cut that, and might do something to hurt the office or bring hardship upon the staff. I don't want to do that. So if you want to talk budget, put me in office and I'll interact and work with the staff and see where we can cut the budget at. And I've been hit with the question, what will you do to the people if elected? I want to give the people of Macon County the best register of deeds office Macon County's ever had and the best register of deeds in the state of North Carolina. Questions? Come on now. Man, I've studied 2 days.
I do have to ask about the budget cuts. Do you think that there's too much money in the office being spent, or what's your feeling on that?
Well, I listened to a Republican opponent, and he was talking about cutting the budget. The budget is $291,791 a year. And I've got it broken down what the salary makes, and the monthly budget, and the per week budget. And I never have figured what the revenue for the office was. I've searched and searched, but I never could have said revenue unavailable, never could find the revenue, but I'm sure they're turning the county a good profit though. But times is hard, everybody's wanting to cut pennies here, cut pennies there. Maybe probably a little space you could cut the budget a little bit. But I need to work with the staff and interact with them and before I say anything about budget cut.
How many people in your office?
There's 4. There's assistant and 2 chiefs and the register. And the salaries I figure come up to $132,000 a year. Give or take. That's just rough estimate. And everybody's talking about the debit card machines. I think that's great too. And I think it's coming in place now. But the Windows 8 and the touchscreen is going to put a big step forward in the office. Well, thank y'all for your support.
All right. And Mr. Todd Raby, come on up and tell us about yourself.
Good evening. I'm Todd Raby. I'm the incumbent register of deeds in Macon County, and you've done your homework.
I have.
I want to talk a little bit about myself. I'm a native of Macon County. My father was the late Coach Tom Raby. My mother is Joyce K. Raby. I'm a single dad. My little soon-to-be 4-year-old son, James Thomas Raby III. He is my life, is which one of the reasons I am up here tonight, running for a 3rd term. I was elected in 2006. I've been in office for 7.5 years, and I feel like I have the experience and the general knowledge to continue to be in the Register of Deeds office. And I feel that since I have been in office, that we have brought the office up into the 21st century. I'll tell you a little story. When I started in the office, everything was by hand. We were doing 100 and some documents a day. It was hand over fist until the economy just went under. The girl in the back was stamping those documents. Hand, every one of them, hand. It was just, we was nonstop. Well, when I put the documents online, the foot traffic slowed down, and we were able to put a label on the instrument, and there was no more stamp. 24-hour turnaround back to the customer for the document. The legal community can tell you that really pleased them. They were very happy with that. People would call online, love your website. I'm glad you got the documents online. We can look at those. We can do the research like we want to. That made a big change. And XP died. And when XP died, they literally died. I mean, we come in and changed it, and we upgraded that. And touchscreen is the future. You're right. You're absolutely right. That's the thing that will come. I mean, it will come. But I feel that in the future, the citizens of Macon County will see what I have done for the Register of Deeds office. I've opened it up. The side door has been opened. People can come in on either side. They can go into the vault and come in the other side, and it's just more open. It's more efficient. It's just better than it was 8 years ago altogether. My staff is absolutely the best staff anybody can ask for, hands down. There's no argument there. They do have an A+, and any good manager has to have a good staff to be successful. Nick mentioned his staff. He's exactly right. They are a good staff. I don't care which department it is. If you don't have a good staff, it's over. You're not going to be successful in your office, regardless whether you're elected official or not. I have had a good relation with all the agencies in the county. With Mapping Department, Tax Office, Health Department, Social Services, all deal with the vital records that we have to deal with. And I just believe that everything is up to par in the Register of Deeds office, and I think that I'm the one that you need to continue to be able to serve the county in the capacity that I've served, and to do the job that is 100%. And I'm asking your vote. Early voting starts April 24th through May 3rd. Primary is May 6th, 2014. We need a big turnout in this election, not only for the Register of Deeds office, but for every candidate that has talked here today. We've got to have a big turnout in a low turnout year in the midterm election. I'm asking you for your vote. I thank you for being here tonight. Do you have any questions?
We're talking touchscreen. How far in the future is that?
I would have to speak with my vendor, and we would have to see what they have. They're Microsoft certified. I mean, they can, you know, if I pick up the phone and say, hey, I need something done, it's done. That we go in sometimes, and there's battery backups. We got one. They'll be there for afternoon to get it fixed. The vendor is awesome. It would be. Now again, that has to do with the budget. It depends on, but I've got a lease. That is under a lease, and that is a good thing because everything is covered under that lease. I mean, if something happens, the upgrades, there's no extra for that. And I did mention, like I say, the debit credit card thing is going to happen within a month, I would say, maybe less. Fraud alert system was going to be coming. I talked to the county manager about that. It's a little costly, but it's free to the people when they sign up for it, and it would alert if something was not right. You would know immediately if a deed had been registered and you didn't register it. So Guilford County started that, and I think that'd be a good asset to the county. Questions?
All right. Well, come on up. Ms. Jane Hicks, please come and tell us all about what you got.
Thank you so much, folks. It's great to be here. It's always wonderful to be with Democrats. Even when it's late in the evening, it's fun to be with Democrats. And as I'm working this campaign, I'm beginning to realize how those religious circuit riders felt as I travel around this district. Because, but thank goodness I'm not riding on a horse. That helps a lot. It's good to be driving a car. But you've heard me speak before, and the three issues that I'm interested in particular are strong education, economic recovery, and access to health care. Now, every candidate probably has their issues, but you know, until we address what's happening in Raleigh, it's not going to matter what a candidate's for. Because we've got problems with Art Pope, and we've got problems with the Koch brothers. But what have they done to us? They've taken away the earned income tax credit. They've taken away the benefits for unemployed workers. They've stolen from the poor, and they've given to the rich. And they call that tax reform. And I call it reverse Robin Hood. That's what they've done to us. You know, when I was a kid and I was studying social studies, I always thought that we could lose democracy through a war. But I never thought we could lose it through the signature of a pen. And that's what's happened to us. And in 2010, the New Yorker magazine ran an article, and it was about the Jon Snow race. And they called it North Carolina State for Sale. And that's what happened, and that's what continues to happen. And the New Yorker, the New York Times in 2013 had an article, talked about North Carolina being a demolition derby. That the 50 years of social progress that we've made in this state has basically gone down the tubes. Now, I'm for progress, and I know that you're for progress. And we have another opportunity to vote for progress on May the 6th. And that's when we have the opportunity to work together to send Jim Davis home. How many of you want to send Jim Davis home?
Somewhere else.
It's time. Let him go back to his orthodontic practice. I think we can do that. But let me talk about some of the things that I feel like I'm qualified to do. I want to work again in public school education. I have 38 years in public school education. I've been a lead teacher. I've been a school psychologist. I've been a teacher and instructor of math and science. And I want us to restore the education that we have for our children. And I want this to be from pre-K all the way to the university level. I relish restoring that. And I also want to fight for our people who didn't get those Medicaid funds. I'm known as a lifelong learner. At age 61, I went to nursing school at Vanderbilt. And I was an honor student. And I feel like I know health care. And I want to give health care to our poorest brothers and sisters. That's 500,000 people in North Carolina. And we need to do that. And I also want to fight for economic recovery. I have 20 years of business experience, and I still run a farm. If any of you want to buy a sheep or a lamb, let me know. I've got one. Come to my farm. It's about time for Easter, and some people like lamb for Easter. But you know, it's been said that you can go to Raleigh, and you can talk to people who want to bring business here, and they will come to Western North Carolina. Well, it's more complicated than that. What we need here is private capital. We need infrastructure here, and we've got to provide those things. And also, I need to think about how I'm going to address the people in Raleigh. You can't just reach across the aisle and tell them, I'm here to work with you. Most of those people have their arms crossed. They have their minds closed. And they have their ears closed too. And so that's going to be very difficult. But what I will do for you, I will go there, and with every bill I introduce, with every vote I cast, you folks will be on my mind. And that's what I want to do. And what would it be like to have a senator who's a lifelong learner? What would it be like to have a senator who works for you? What would it be like to have a senator to listen to you? I want to go to Raleigh. I want to beat Jim Davis. Let's send him back to straightening out teeth. Orthodontist aligned teeth. But you know, he misaligned our state. Let's send him back. I want to go to Raleigh for you. Please vote for me. Thank you. Oh, if anybody's got a question, sure. I'm sorry you gave me 10 minutes. I've started to vote against that. Okay, does anybody have a question? Raise your hand and I'll be glad to answer. Okay, yes, sir.
Where's the first place you start? In terms of writing, introducing legislation, what's at the very top of your menu?
Well, I think the top of my menu is going to be getting some money back. And I think that's getting rid of this reverse Robin Hood bill, of getting rid of the flat taxes, because that's taking our money away. That's why we don't have money for education or for anything else.
Tax code.
Yeah, I want to work on the tax code. I want to work to restore education because that's important. Our teachers are suffering. Our children are suffering. I want to get some more money in for per pupil expenditure. Because I was in Franklin High School, and in the English class, they were using books that were 17 years old. And some of the desks were put together so that they could share a book. And we need that. I mean, people can talk about iPads all they want to, and those things are important, and that's the wave of the future. But we don't have fiber optics network available for every home. And so that's putting our kids at a further disadvantage, those who are poor or don't have that. So I am for education. And another thing I'm going to go for is getting the Medicaid expansion, because that's affecting our hospitals. When I was visiting with Angel Hospital, they were already, I think, $850,000 in the red in 4 months. And you project that over a year, and you're about to $2.5 million. So those are the things that I particularly want to work on. I want to work on our businesses too. And one of the things that we've lost is we've lost the Rural Center. Maybe there's some problems with that, but the money's gone into the Department of Commerce. And we've got to make sure that we can get some of that back, particularly if we can get it, as much as we can get for infrastructure. But at least let's try to get some money for grants that we can match with other people putting in infrastructure as well. And so those are the basic things that I want to work for. And I will work for you, and I want to listen to you. You know, you may have other ideas and maybe something that's even more important than that. That's what I feel like is important. But keep me in the link and keep talking to me and let me know what's important to you. Any other questions? Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And Mr. Ron Robinson, come on up and tell us why we should vote for you tonight.
Oh, he's going to preach.
Thank you, Jane. That was very good. My name is Ron Robinson, and during my career, I've had the opportunity of living here in Macon County in Franklin over at Mill Creek. And during that time, I worked with folks who had mental disabilities. And my work was expanding the western counties for helping folks with mental health issues. And during that time, I got to know people from Macon all the way over to Hanging Dog and helping folks in need. It was a pleasure of my life. After that, I consulting firm heard about me, and I went back to work doing consulting work, which is something I've done for most of my life, working with organizations and helping them become more successful. And doing that, I've also worked in the area of mental health, but also working with healthcare organizations as well, and also with businesses, which is why I'm running for office. I, too, want to end Jim Davis's tenure. I want to extract Jim Davis. As a matter of fact, folks, I have bumper stickers that say extract Jim Davis. And end Jim's tenure for the teachers. So I want to honor everybody tonight. Somebody once said that we needed to have a bumper sticker that said, get Jim out of the gynecology office. To respect our teachers and respect our women. One of the things that's important to me is something that I have learned from several years ago. I went back to my hometown, Tazewell, Virginia. That's where I was born and raised. It's in the Appalachian Mountains, about 2 ridges over as the crow flies. And in Tazewell, most of the stores had been boarded up. And when I decided to run for office, I decided I did not want that happening here. Not in Franklin, not in Robbinsville, where Stanley's just gone under, not in any town in any county in western North Carolina. And that's why I'm running for office. We need to have good paying jobs back in western North Carolina. And that's why I'm running for office. Now let me talk to you a little bit about how I see that working. Much as Jane has talked about, it's a matter of having 3 pillars. 3 pillars to our communities, much like the 3 legs of a stool. Any of you all ever had a 3-legged stool in your homes? Show of hands if you have. Anybody's had one knows how stable a 3-legged stool can be. Well, it's the same thing if we're going to bring prosperity back to western North Carolina. The first part of that stool, the first leg of the stool, has to do with our school system. The second has to do with the way we bring jobs back and the way we build infrastructure in our communities. And the third has to do with health care. And when everybody has access to health care, they've got a job that pays the bills, and they also have schools that educate them for those jobs, you have prosperity back in western North Carolina. That's also how we built a great state once before and how we can build a great state once again. Now, I have mentioned to you I'm running against Jim Davis. Let me tell you who I'm running for. I'm running for the teachers in Franklin. I'm running for the teachers in Macon County who've had their salaries cut. I'm for the cafeteria workers and the school bus drivers in our schools who haven't had a salary increase in years, just like the teachers. I'm for the principals who are having to work with their teachers and provide supplies that they don't have, and I'm here for the schools that have had their supply budgets cut in half and haven't had textbooks in their classes for years. And I'm for the teachers who are having to teach the core curriculum without textbooks. Can you imagine anything more insane than that? No. That's why I'm running for office. I told the principal not long ago that if business was run like the schools are being run, businesses would be out of business. And he agreed. We're treating our schools like no one would treat any other organization that I've ever seen, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop. Now, if we're for schools, let's talk about jobs, and let's talk about what I'm for when it comes to jobs. I'm for every person who's been laid off at Stanley. I'm for every person who's been laid off and is not able to get unemployment now, and who's not able to get food stamps now. It's wrong, it's immoral, and we need to do something about it. And I'm for the small business owner that's struggling because of the tax situation right now. They're being taxed more while multinationals are getting the breaks. Art Pope, by the way, is also getting those breaks. It's wrong, it's not right when we have small businesses trying to employ people, yet being abused with taxes that they have to pay now in order to give rich people a break. It's not right. And I'm for the people who are suffering right now, like the farmer who fell off his barn roof and is now a cripple. He's a cripple because he didn't have health insurance. And he didn't want to be a burden to his family by going to the hospital with all those bills. And I'm for the young lady who graduated from community college with a degree, worked 60 hours a week in a minimum wage job, and has cancer. She lives here in Macon County. She comes back to HHS here, DSS I should say. And when they tell her that she's too poor to get health insurance, she calls Jim Davis, and you know what Jim Davis says? Make more money. Make more money. That's the kind of representation that we have. I have a dream. I believe that we can have a better day in Western North Carolina. And I believe that that day is a day in which we have businesses coming here knocking down our doors because we have some of the best schools in the world. And those schools are set up to not only send kids to college where they can graduate debt-free, but also vocational programs for kids that like to work with their hands. And they can go straight into businesses and school and work right out of high school. They're doing that in Pisgah High School right now. We can do it in all the schools. And I believe that by having the kind of environment here where we can have jobs and have education, we can bring prosperity back to Western North Carolina. That's why I'm running for office. So I'm asking you to consider someone who understands how business works, who understands the needs of healthcare, particularly the areas of mental health, that has worked in all of those. Because I believe that every person matters. Every one of you matters. Every person matters in Western North Carolina. And I believe that if you support me and send me to Raleigh, you'll have somebody who can stand up for you and stand up for that farmer and stand up for everybody else in Western North Carolina and represent you and bring prosperity back to Western North Carolina through strong schools, through recruiting companies that pay the bills and pay women the same as men, and through ensuring that we have health care for everybody. But that also means that we do some things with HHS. The last client I had was a small doctor's office, and she's struggling right now because HHS's software system is not paying her bills. And she's having a hard time making payroll because of that. So we not only have the challenge of having people have access to health care, we're having challenges with our providers getting paid once they provide the health care. We need to have support for our providers, much like we have support for the people who need the health care from the beginning. So in summary, let me just say this. In business, I can talk to the people across the aisle in Raleigh. They're business people, they understand business language. And I believe I'm best suited to reach across the aisle and talk to them about the business case for making our schools strong rather than trying to privatize them. And I believe that I'm best suited to debate Jim Davis and beat Jim Davis in the general election because I've been with Jim. I have sat in his office with him and we have debated the issues. And I fully believe that Jim Davis believes what he's saying. As outrageous as what he's saying, he actually believes what he's saying. But part of my work, for a while I was a substitute teacher and I taught language arts skills. Part of that was debate skills. And I've also worked with candidates, helping them with debate skills. And I believe that if you put me up against Jim Davis, we can have a fine debate that I can win and represent the Democrats in Macon County in going to Raleigh. So I ask you for your consideration and I ask you for your vote on April 24th. Was that 10 minutes?
That was 10 minutes.
All right. Thank you all very much.
All right. First of all, thank everyone, especially our speakers, for coming out, our candidates, because it takes a lot just to go out there and put your name, your family, your fortune, everything on the line to step up against some of the biggest bullies out there. And so I really want to thank yeah, thanks for taking the time, getting involved, getting informed, all the things that we take for granted that is required of our system for it to work. And we need more people to participate and understand what the stakes are and what the pros and the cons and all of these things are. Early voting does begin Thursday, April the 24th. It ends on Saturday, May 3rd at 1 p.m.
Vote early, vote often.
Nobody said that. And election day is Tuesday, May 6th, and from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. This concludes our candidate forum. Please continue to talk with our candidates in the hall. For members of our Macon County Democratic Men's Club, we'll take a 5-minute recess and begin our business meeting back in here. Registered Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents may attend the meeting. Thank you once again.